At the peak of the space race in 1965, the United States was spending over 4% of its entire federal budget just to beat the Soviet Union to the moon. Today, NASA gets less than half of 1%. The real reason we haven't gone back isn't alien bases or lost alien technology. It's a $260 billion paper trail of politics, money, and a forgotten blueprint. In December 1972, Apollo 17 astronaut Eugene Cernan took his final steps on the lunar dust, climbed into the lunar module, and headed home. If you had told him that more than 50 years would pass before another human being went back, he would have thought you were crazy. We conquered the moon. We won the space race. And then, we just stopped. For decades, conspiracy theorists have had a field day with this. We never went, they say, or we found something terrifying on the dark side. But the truth is much less like a sci-fi movie and a lot more like a corporate nightmare. Today, we are breaking down the real, frustrating, and heavily bureaucratic reasons why humanity was grounded. We'll also look at why the latest 2026 NASA delays prove that going back is a lot harder than simply dusting off the old Apollo blueprints. Let's start with the most obvious barrier: cold, hard cash. Going to the moon is absurdly expensive. The original Apollo program cost about $25.8 billion. Adjusted for inflation today, that is roughly $260 billion. Back in the 1960s, NASA had a blank check. John F. Kennedy said, "We choose to go to the moon," and Congress practically threw money at the scientists. But once the US beat the Soviets and planted that flag, the political motivation evaporated. By the 1970s, the American public was dealing with domestic issues, economic crises, and the Vietnam War. They essentially said, "Cool, we won. Now let's stop spending billions on space rocks." Congress canceled Apollo 18 and 19 to save money, because today, NASA operates on a fraction of that budget. To afford the current Artemis moon missions, NASA has had to rely on commercial partnerships. They literally hired SpaceX and Blue Origin to build the lunar landers because the government can't foot the bill alone anymore. Space exploration today has to be financially sustainable, not just a one-time flex. The second major reason is what we call the political reset button. To build a moon program, you need decades of consistent work. But democratic governments change leaders every 4 to 8 years. In the 90s, the Space Exploration Initiative was proposed to go back to the moon and Mars, canceled because it was estimated to cost $500 billion. In the 2000s, the Constellation program was born, to put humans on the moon by 2019, canceled because it fell behind schedule and was underfunded. Every time a new administration comes in, they scrap the old space goals and start over. It is like trying to build a massive Lego set, but every hour your mom comes into the room, smashes it, and tells you to build a spaceship instead of a castle. The current Artemis program is the only modern moon project that has survived multiple administrations, but it's barely hanging on. Just in early 2026, we saw NASA dramatically restructure the Artemis timeline. They realized Artemis 3 was too ambitious, turning it into a low Earth orbit test mission and pushing the actual moon landing to Artemis 4 in 2028. It proves that keeping a massive space program alive through political shifts is a miracle in itself. Let me ask you guys a serious question. With everything going on down here on Earth, do you think we should be spending tens of billions of dollars to build a base on the moon? Or should we focus that money on our own planet? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm going to be reading and replying to them. You might have heard the rumor that NASA destroyed the technology to go to the moon. That's a myth. The truth is, we lost the institutional knowledge. The Saturn V rocket wasn't built by a simple IKEA manual. It was built by hundreds of thousands of engineers, mostly by hand. The blueprints exist, but the specific undocumented tricks, like exactly how much torque a specific technician applied to a valve in 1968, are gone. Those engineers have retired or passed away. Furthermore, today's safety standards are entirely different. the Apollo missions were incredibly dangerous. We accepted a high level of risk because it was a geopolitical war. Today, NASA will not fly unless everything is perfect. This obsession with safety is exactly why we are seeing current delays. In February 2026, NASA rolled the massive SLS rocket for Artemis 2 back to the vehicle assembly building because they found a helium pressurization issue. They pushed the launch to April. We aren't just going to the moon to touch the dirt and leave. We are building new spacesuits, the Gateway space station, and ensuring that astronauts can stay there. Reinventing the wheel with 2026 safety standards takes time. So if it's so expensive and difficult, why are we suddenly trying to go back right now? 2 words: lunar ice. We now know that the south pole of the moon contains deep, dark craters filled with water ice. Water can be converted into breathable oxygen and, more importantly, rocket fuel. The moon is the ultimate cosmic gas station for humanity's eventual trip to Mars. And this has sparked a brand new space race. The United States isn't just racing against its own budget anymore. China's space agency, the CNSA, is making massive strides. In fact, their Chang'e 7 mission is on track for an August 2026 launch to map out those exact water ice deposits near the Shackleton crater. China plans to put their own astronauts on the lunar South Pole by 2030. This geopolitical pressure is the only reason the Artemis program is surviving budget cuts today. The fear of another superpower claiming the water resources of the moon is forcing politicians to keep the funding alive. We aren't going back to plant a flag. We are going back to establish a permanent real estate presence. The 50-year gap in lunar exploration isn't a conspiracy. It's the result of lost momentum, shifting politics, and a price tag that outgrew the public's interest. But the drought is finally over. The rockets are built, the tests are happening right now in 2026, and humanity is packing its bags to leave Earth. This time, to stay. If you want to stay updated on this new space race and understand the wild technology taking us there, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, keep looking up, and I'll see you in the next one.